Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we're back with a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress, so get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me as I tell you some stories and some shenanigans that are going on here in the coffee house. So today is actually Monday, the day after Easter, so happy Easter to all those who celebrate. If you do not celebrate, I hope you had a wonderful Sunday. So yesterday was fun. Let's talk about it. Now, yesterday was Easter, and as you guys know, we have been stuck in the house for the last week because of snow. We ended up getting 6 feet of snow, you guys. Oh my God. 6 feet of snow. Yes, we were stuck in the house, like legit stuck in the house. Like our neighbor had to come shovel us out stuck in the house. By, I want to say Thursday, our door had gotten so encased with snow from the wind and everything that a neighbor literally had to come and shovel some of the snow from in front of the door just so we can get out of the house. But the weird thing about it is life does not stop in Williston whenever there is snow. This is nothing to them, which is, again, why I say they're a different breed of people. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the way that they move differently than everybody else, okay? Where most of the world would see how much snow we got and go, and I had somebody comment and say, you're in a state of emergency. No. No. They don't call it a state of emergency here. They call it a delay day. What's a delay day? It's essentially where everything is delayed opening, but everything is open. Like the pharmacies are open, the grocery stores are open. Mr. Coffee's already back to work. He actually went into work yesterday while it was still snowing. We got another foot of snow yesterday. So on top of the 5 feet we got Tuesday through Wednesday, we got another foot of snow overnight on Sunday. So it made Easter quite interesting. Now, you guys know, I told you guys on Friday, we don't typically celebrate Easter here. Me and Mr. Coffee are not very religious folks. We do like the whole like dying of the eggs thing, but even that was a little bit of a problem this year because Mr. Coffee forgot to get the vinegar. It's been a while since Mr. Coffee's been around for Easter that, you know, he could remember, hey, by the way, you need vinegar to dye the eggs. So he forgot the vinegar, and because the snow was still coming down, the stores were closed, so he couldn't really go to the store to get vinegar. He did ended up getting called in to work for 10 minutes just for them to tell him that they didn't need whatever it was that they sent him in there for. And he essentially went for nothing. So he was feeling some type of way about that. But he forgot the vinegar whenever it came to dyeing the eggs. And how often do you dye eggs? So he's not going to remember. So he forgot. And usually I get the Easter stuff, but because of the storm, I didn't get a chance to go out to get it. I got the pack for it, and I told him that I knew I was forgetting something, and here I forgot the vinegar. I was going to have him go out and get it, but then the storm hit, and I forgot, and we've been just sitting in the house chilling, watching the cars go by, the little ones that can make it through. Some of them are getting stuck in the snow still. Yesterday, we had another car get stuck in the snow in front of the house, and the snow plows had to come through and get them unstuck. Because when you are trying to drive in snow, that snow gets up underneath the hood of your car, and then it essentially, it's like a locking mechanism. It just locks your car up. And so a lot of people kept trying to like weather the storm and go wherever they were going. And I'm like, I don't care what holiday it is. It ain't worth me getting in my car right now. Like, I don't even want to take these goddamn own kids to school tomorrow. Now, the kids are out of school today because they're still out for Easter break. Some people thought that they were out because of the weather. Nay. School would still be open if it wasn't for the fact that they're on Easter break. Like, they go back to school tomorrow. No delay, no nothing. They go back to school tomorrow. Now, the plow trucks are out today, which they're out now clearing the roads because it's 36 freaking degrees outside. Like, what the hell? I'm telling y'all, Mother Nature is about as bipolar as I am, because the fact that it's 36 degrees. Now, I don't mind the snow too much just because it wasn't frigidly cold. Like, it wasn't in the negatives. It never dipped down into the negatives. It dipped down into the teens, but never to the negatives. So I was very thankful for that. Somebody looked at my picture and was like, hold up, I thought y'all were going from, going into summer. I'm like, we are. But where I live, right, the way the weather is set up, we go from winter to spring, spring to winter, winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to winter, winter to fall, fall to winter. It's a whole thing. All right, sorry about that. That was Maggie. She's outside playing. That is where Maggie has been at most of this time. So our weather is just all over the place. And like I said, we go through all the same seasons. Winter just kind of cuts in the middle. It's like our separating point. It's like, the weather is about to change because winter's coming again. Yeah, it's not fun. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. We'll go from yesterday and kind of go back or go all over the place. You guys know how this rolls. Just stick with me, okay? Just stick with me because I'm all over the place. So yesterday, we're sitting here and Mr. Coffee's like, okay, we forgot the vinegar, but the eggs come with stickers. So we were like, we'll do stickers on the eggs. And I was like, we even have markers. So we did markers on the eggs. Now, I didn't record or take any pictures or anything because it's not very often that I get to enjoy family time without it being on social media or whatnot. And again, I'm not a big braggadocious person. So like, I didn't want to be like, oh my God, look at us coloring Easter eggs on Easter. Yay. No offense to anyone who does do that. Me personally, I like just enjoying the time that I have with my family that's not electronical. So yeah, that's a word, look it up. Anyways, so we're sitting there, we're letting the kids use the stickers and stuff on the eggs, which of course means less mess than say dyeing the eggs, because last year Maggie had our entire table stained with dye because she spilled the dye trying to dip her egg. And she threw a fit about something because Orion was in the green dye and she wanted to be in the green dye. So she threw a fit and ended up knocking the cup of dye over. And my table was stained green for the rest of the time that we had it. We actually ended up getting rid of it shortly after that anyways. But it was stained green for at least a couple of months. Anyways. So we're sitting here yesterday, and I was like, that's what I was thinking about yesterday when Mr. Coffee said we forgot the vinegar. I was like, well, at least it won't mess up my table. I just got this table from Ashley's Furniture whenever we first moved, if y'all remember. So I was like, I'm not trying to have it messed up with dye. And I spent the entire day yesterday cleaning my house. Why? I don't know. It's just a thing that happens randomly. Do you ever get to a point where you're just sitting there minding your own business and all of a sudden you get this, what I call the cleaning bug, and you just start cleaning for no reason? Mr. Coffee let me sleep in yesterday, and I was like, oh, well, I'm going to get up and do some cleaning then, because like I feel like I've gotten enough rest that I can get up and I have the energy to clean. So I get up and start with the back room here, and I start, cleaning up and straightening up things, and the ferrets have my back room a whole mess, so I'm like cleaning all that stuff up, and I get to the kitchen, and I'm like, I'm deep cleaning this kitchen. It's been a little bit since I've deep cleaned the kitchen. If you hear a bell, don't worry about it. The ferrets are out running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, like the kitchen needed to be deep cleaned really bad. I haven't deep cleaned it in like a week, so I'm like, I need to deep clean it, like wipe down all my appliances, wipe down my counters, or not my counters, but my cabinets, wipe and get all the stuff off the stove, all the stuff that accumulates that nobody pays attention to when they normally clean the kitchen. That stuff all I needed to do. Plus, I mop religiously, so I needed to make sure I got good mopping onto the floor and everything. And I mean, like, I was scrubbing the floor, asses and elbows scrubbing the floor yesterday. That's why I was so tired. I put up a post on my social media saying about being so tired. That's why I was so tired, because I literally hand scrubbed the kitchen floor just to get ready for the kids to dye eggs, and we were like, how do we want to hide them? Now, me and Mr. Coffee had talked about how we wanted to hide the eggs for the longest time. And Orion was like, how cool would it be to just go throw them out in the snow and try to go find them? And I was like, that would be cool. So I opened the back door, and I brushed some of the snow away from the screen, because you guys know when the wind blows, it'll blow it up against the screen if you have a screen door. Well, it blows up against the screen, and so I brushed the snow away, and I just lightly toss an egg into the snow. And we have about 6 feet of snow in our backyard right now. Actually, no, I lied. We probably have about 2 feet of snow, because most of it is from when they plowed and then they pushed everything into our yard. And so I was just like, whatever, because I didn't think we'd be going back there. So I opened the door and I just kind of like tossed the egg into the snow real carefully. And not that it was going to break. It's a hard-boiled egg. And so I'm sitting there, and Orion's like, can I throw one? And I'm like, just real gentle into the snow so we can find it. He goes, okay. He picture takes this egg, right? Like, he had the death claw on this egg, and he chucks it as hard as he can out the back window. The problem was, as he was doing that, one of the snow plows had came by, and he had lined it up perfectly with the time that the snowplow was coming, hit the guy's window, just smack, and you just heard a loud smack that echoed because there's nobody else outside. So it just smacks off the guy's window, scares the piss out of the guy in the thing. I'm looking over, I'm like, sorry. I'm like, Orion, why would you do that? He's like, I just wanted to throw it outside. I'm like, oh my God, kid, like, what the hell? Maggie's like, my turn. I want to see if I can hit the snowplow too. She tries to throw it. It didn't work out well for her. Well, then with the back doors open, the dogs will go to the back door and try to like get out. And I'm like, y'all can get out if y'all want to. I'd already told y'all. Y'all already know my rule about the dogs getting out. If they get out, you better find a new home. I'm not chasing you. I'm not doing it. I've taught them how to get home from up to 5 miles away if they do get out. So it's like, okay, you either find your way home or you just homeless because I'm not coming after you. I would go after them, don't worry. But I don't want them to think that. I got to act tough for them because I don't want them to think that I'm going to come run after them every time they leave the house. So you got to treat them like kids when they won't come out of the store and you're like, I'm going to leave you. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, now it's your turn to go outside and get it. So the kids get all bundled up and Maggie's like, well, where's the stair? And I'm like, you don't need a stair. And she's like, what? So Mr. Coffee picks her up and just tosses her in the snow. And she's like, Daddy, I'm drowning. And he's like, you can't drown in snow. She goes, I'm melting. He's like, you're not ice. You can't melt in snow. She goes, I'm dying. He's like, you're not dying because you're still talking. She goes, but I'm dead. And he's like, you're not dead because you're still talking. And Orion's like, my turn. He jumps out into the snow. And right where he jumped was where the egg was. So he gets up and he has something yellow like smeared all over the back of his snowsuit. Now take it, his snowsuit is blue. And he has something yellow smeared all over the back of his thing. And Maggie's like, ew, Orion, you stepped in, or you sat in bird poop. And he's like, I did? I'm like, one, where is there a bird anywhere near here? Please tell me where you see a bird at all, in the sky, on a tree, anything. Just tell me where you see a bird that it was big enough to make a poop that size. I'm like, no, Orion, I think you fell on one of the eggs. He fell on the egg that I tossed carefully into the backyard. And so then they decided that they were going to go swimming. And I was like, okay, so I just closed the back door because the dogs were trying to get out to go after them. Because when Maggie starts yelling, of course, here comes Daisy to the rescue, Captain Save-A-Ho. And I'm like, look, listen, the way her life is set up, she is fine. She is not in need of saving. She is perfectly fine. You can sit here at the window, and Daisy just sits there at the window crying because Maggie's out there like making all kinds of weird noises, and Daisy thinks she's in trouble. I'm like, she is not a damsel in distress. She is just stressed. She's fine. So they decided that they were going to go swimming and tunneling through the snow. And I was like, all right, well, dinner will be ready in like 20 minutes because I had made like pork tenderloin and mac and cheese and all kinds of fun stuff for Easter. Again, we don't celebrate Easter traditionally like most folks. The kids do know the meaning of Easter. We have told them, but we're one of those types of parents that's letting them make up their own mind about religion. I don't want to force it onto them like it was forced onto me, which is probably part of the reason why I'm not as religious as like most people would think I should be. But it is what it is. Anyways, so they're sitting out there, they're tunneling in the snow, and at one point, Orion lost Maggie, and he's like, Mom, where's Maggie? I'm like, dude, look, I don't know. That's your sister. You're supposed to be keeping tabs on her. Here, she had somehow swam her way across the street and was on the other sidewalk, thought she was still at our backyard. Like, that's how much snow there is. Like, she tunneled her way all the way across the street, which is dangerous because, she could have got hit by a car or something, but no, there's no snow in the street for her to like, literally go straight through. She ran across the street while he wasn't looking, and that's how she got across the street. So then earlier that day, Mr. Coffee had to go to work while I was cleaning. And again, these stories are going to be skipping all over the place. It's just the way my brain works. I apologize. I am what I am, and I is what I is. So I'm sitting there cleaning, and Mr. Coffee comes in. And why is it? Does anybody else's spouse do this? Mr. Coffee will sit here in this house with me all day, okay? Will not say boo piss to me all day. The moment I put on my headphones, okay? The moment I put them on my tiny little ear holes is the moment he wants to have a full-fledged conversation with me. And I'm like, So I'm sitting there cleaning, I'm jamming out. I don't know what type of messing. I don't know what kind of music y'all listen to when you clean up, which put that down in the comments. First question of or I guess that's the second question of the video. What kind of music do you listen to whenever you're cleaning? I listen to heavy metal. Why? Because it gets me pumped. Even though sometimes I can be a little rough with my things, I get pumped and I'm like, I'm in the mode. I want to clean, let's clean. Like, it helps keep me motivated to clean. I'm cleaning the bathroom, I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm cleaning the back room, I'm all over the place, just like these stories. And so Mr. Coffee comes up, and again, he had been sitting there for at least an hour. Okay, he did come and ask me before I started cleaning, did I want any help? And I was like, nah, I got this. Partly because, as y'all already know, Mr. Coffee can't clean to save his life, so I don't need him messing up stuff that I'm gonna have to clean up later. So I was just like, nah, I got this. Don't even worry about it. So I just decided I was gonna clean. And so I'm cleaning, got my headphones on, jamming out, head banging all over the place. At one point, I head banged so hard, I banged my head off the edge of the chair. Don't worry, I'm fine. That's probably why I got half the brain damage I do. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Or I've been sitting there banging my head, like listening to music, and I've banged it off something. Usually it's cabinets, but the cabinets where I live now are too high for me to do that, so thank God for that. But the chairs, yeah, no, apparently I go too hard sometimes. Anyway, moving right along. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay. You know, I'm cleaning out the microwave. I got my Scentsy Clean stuff, because I need, for me to advertise my Scentsy stuff, I like to use it. So they have, like, Scentsy has all kinds of stuff. And this isn't like a whatever. I'm just telling you what I was using. But Scentsy has all kinds of cleaning stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of these consultants that puts up cleaning stuff and it's like, works great. And then they show you a picture of something clean. And then they show you a picture of something dirty. And then they're like, look what Scentsy did. How do I know Scentsy did it? I don't know if Scentsy did it. So I want to actually use the products to see if they actually work. Or if it's just like, you know, them just trying to sell cleaning stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I got my Scentsy cleaning stuff out, and I'm cleaning, and I'm like, okay, I want to see how well it does on this microwave, because the microwave, as you guys know, microwaves can get pretty dirty. And I got a Maggie, and Maggie loves to put spaghetti stuff in the microwave without a top or anything on it. Like, we have a special little, like, Tupperware thing that you're supposed to put on your stuff. Like, it's like a condom for your Tupperware. Like, it's like this little plastic thing that you stretch over. Like, you've seen commercials for it. It's like stretched over your bowls and stuff. It can go over any bowl and it vacuum seals it, essentially. Maggie is against putting that on any of her stuff because she can't get it off without making a mess. And I get that, but ask for help. But Maggie don't want to ask for help because why should she, right? Right. So we're going to change colors here. We're going to go, I'm like killing this diamond painting right now. The sad part is I took that little break from diamond painting where I was only diamond painting on Fridays, and now I'm just, like, sitting here all day, like, okay, now I actually want to diamond paint. Maybe I just needed a break. Sometimes you need a break, you know what I mean? But don't worry, I'm still drawing. I didn't feel like drawing today. I was like, you know, Maggie's outside playing with her friends, because her friends are all outside. Orion, of course, is upstairs doing Orion things, and I was like, let me go ahead and record this whip and chat. Now, y'all didn't get a video today, which is Monday. I do apologize. I'm still extremely tired from cleaning, so I didn't put up a video today. Plus, I figured, you know, the rest of the week would be full with videos, so I'm like, I don't think it'll matter if they, like, if I take a day off and not put up something on Monday. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the U-turn sign. Now, I wrote the symbols on these myself, so, oh, there it is. I was about to say, maybe I wrote it all cattywampus and I can't see it. So now we got our new symbol. And these drills and everything for this canvas, of course, are, like, amazing. If you have not checked out Enabler's Outpost, please do. I will link this canvas down below. I actually looked at it this morning when I was talking to Becky, and it is available still on their website. What's my timestamp? Okay, I'll make sure to put it up. I'll try to remember to put up a picture. If I don't, just look in the description box and there'll be the link to this canvas where you can actually see the picture and everything of what this canvas looks like. Anyways, so yeah, so we're sitting here and I'm cleaning and Mr. Coffee comes up and I immediately like shoot him daggers and I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, I have to leave for work. Excuse me? Now I'm thinking the same thing y'all thinking. Who the hell going out here driving on these roads like this? Like, y'all thought I was joking. I'm not joking. I am not sending these kids to school if they don't clear these roads. And Saturday night, they had the roads all completely cleared. Like, no snow, no ice, nothing. All the roads were cleared. And then it snowed on Sunday, and they haven't been back. It's like they were like, oh, I give up. Which I can completely understand, because they just did, like, 12 hours worth of work on one road. Just the one road. It took them, like, 12 hours to clear, just for it to snow and cover the road again. Like, that is the biggest, like, F you in the face from Mother Nature. Like, Mother Nature was like, yeah, F you and your snowplow, buddy. I don't care. So, I understand them not wanting to plow again. But look, listen, the way my life is set up, if they don't plow, I can't get out of my driveway. There's more snow in my driveway from when Mr. Coffee shoveled. And I'm just like, I'm not about to shovel it. Like, I just cleaned the whole... No, I'm good. Nah. These kids will be missing a few days this week. I don't even care. They better get on them Chromebooks and start working, because I'm not. See, I think that North Dakota should have it where you have the option to homeschool your child during the winter months, so that you're not risking your life trying to send them to school. Because I can't tell you how many times I go out when it has snowed outside. How many times I've gone and went to go to the kids at school, and there's an accident. And I'm like, this would have been avoided if you just let us do homeschooling. I'm just saying. Anywho, why is it whenever you do a symbol and you put that symbol away, all of a sudden you see all the symbols, but you scoured that canvas looking to see if you got them all, and you did, and then you go back to it with a different color, and you're like, oh, look, there's 30 of those symbols right there. Good God, diamond painting is a mess, y'all. Anyway, so he tells me he has to go into work, and I'm like, all right, fine. Now, I'm not going to lie. I got irritated because I'm like, what the hell could they possibly need that they can't wait until tomorrow when the roads are probably a little bit clearer? When, of course, Mr. Coffee gets to work, okay, he calls to let me know he got there okay, and that if he doesn't hear from me in half an hour, or if I don't hear from him in half an hour, to give him a call, because he was at work by himself. And again, he's not supposed to be there by himself. So he was like, just call in half an hour if you don't hear anything from me. I have his coworker's number to go check on him, because I can't go into that building. I don't know how to, one, I don't know which building it is. And two, his coworker knows his way around, so he'll be able to find him if I can't find him. And I was like, all right, bet. So he goes into work, and I continue to clean. I'm scrubbing floors. Meanwhile, like, does anybody else's dog do this? Like, Killian is such a derp. So I'm scrubbing the floors, right? And Killian decides that he likes the taste of, what is it? Because we have all-purpose cleaner, and it's called Cloudberry Dreams. And so I was using the all-purpose cleaner to scrub the floors. So I got a bucket of hot water, and I put some of the cleaner in it, and I just took a scrub brush, and I went through the floor and scrubbed every inch of this floor. And then I went back with a bucket of hot water and my mop, and I cleaned it all up. And then I went over it again. I don't know why I have to go over it 7 times when I mop, but I go... Not usually 7 times. It's usually like 3 or 4. But I'll go over it a couple of times just to make sure that the floor is clean. So I scrubbed it, and then I go over it like 4 times with the mop to make sure it's clean. OCD, whatever, I don't know what it is. I have to keep going over it. Now, I feel like I need more wax in my pen. So how do you know when you need more wax in your pen, to those new folks? Whenever it stops picking up drills. So all I'm going to do, so I'm going to clear the little bit of wax that's in there out, which wasn't a whole lot. And then I'm just going to get some blue wax, which is my favorite to use. And I'm just going to refill it. This pen came from Diamond Painting Elite Artisan over on Facebook. She did let me know that she is going to be starting a group so that folks in the U.S. can buy her pens. But right now, with the cost of shipping, she didn't do it that way because she didn't figure anybody would be interested, I guess. So, yeah, don't worry. As soon as she opens up that new group, I will let you guys know so that you guys can get a pen. Anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm cleaning, and kids come down. Like, why is it that the kids only want to come down whenever you're doing something to a floor? Like, if I'm cleaning, we have 5 bathrooms in this house, not a flex. You try cleaning 5 bathrooms, okay? So we have 5 bathrooms in this house, and Maggie still will not use her bathroom upstairs. So the moment I started scrubbing that floor while the other floor in the kitchen was drying, she comes down and she's like, Mom, I gotta go to the bathroom. You better go upstairs. There's 4 other bathrooms upstairs. Why are you choosing this one to go to when I'm scrubbing the floor? And she's like, I just like this one. No, that's all right. You can go upstairs. So I sent her back upstairs. Well, as I'm talking to her, I see the dogs walk past me. Now, my dogs cannot walk properly on the hardwood. I've tried giving them booties and socks so that they're not slipping all over the place, and Daisy's are going to have hip problems for sure because that poor girl can't walk on this floor to save her life. And they go over to the kitchen floor. Now, the floor is slippy, so I see Daisy pretty much do what is called a doggy split, where her legs just went bloop, and I was just like, yeah, I bet you'll stay out of that kitchen now, won't you? But Killian is the straight-up gangster. I don't know what is on the bottom of his feet, but he wasn't sliding like Daisy was. Killian decides he's going to go to the center of the floor and then try to lick the floor because apparently he likes the smell of Cloudberry Dreams. And I'm like, stop licking that floor. And he sees me. He stops, but he still has his tongue out. And then he touches it to the floor again. I'm like, no, no. Like, I don't know what's wrong with this dog. Does anybody else's dog like to lick things when you clean it? Because Daisy will lick the windows. So a lot of the times, my back window, I have a sliding glass door window in my kitchen. And a lot of the times what ends up happening is Daisy will go over to that sliding glass door after I wipe it down, and she'll start trying to lick it. And I'm like, no, stop licking the goddamn on window. And then Killian, for some reason, whatever I use in the mop bucket, he will like to lick that off the floor. And I'm like, well, you guys, y'all wonder why your stomach gets upset for no reason. It's because y'all keep trying to lick cleaning products. Now, I could cage them until I'm done, but there's no point. Like, why would I do that? They're free-roaming birds. I don't like caging them unless I absolutely have to, like if somebody comes into my house. Like, we had the water people come in, and for some reason, I don't know what it was about the one water guy, but Daisy did not like him. Daisy just kept barking and growling at this poor guy, and the guy was like, are they friendly? I'm like, usually, it's very odd for Daisy to bark at somebody like that. Like, and it wasn't like a, hey, I want attention bark. It was a, I don't like you bark. And I was just like, that's really weird. Now, I know dogs are good senses of character, so obviously there was something up with this guy. But Daisy, like, she would not stop barking and jumping in her cage and trying to get at him. And I'm like, Daisy, will you stop? Oh, my God. Anyways, so trying to keep the dogs from licking the floor and everything. But it was the week that we've been off has been great. Again, I don't know what people think when I tell them that we're stuck in the house. Like, I don't know if they think that we're in here trying to kill each other or they're trying to kill me or vice versa. But my family actually likes being in the house together because then everybody's all together. We can do what we want. And we had talked about watching a movie. Now, take it. We are on the last day of me and the kids being home, okay? Mostly the kids because I'm home all the time anyways. But we still have not watched a single movie since the kids have been home. Why, you might be asking? Because every time we go to try to watch a movie, the kids fall asleep. Now, take it. Maggie has been spending her days outside in the snow. She's been out there playing with her friends, and I just saw some more of that symbol. She's been outside playing with her friends. She's been outside playing in the snow. She's just been outside. Maggie has been living outside, essentially. Orion, of course, is doing normal Orion things. He hates the outside, so he's in his room in the dark cave playing video games and talking to his friends. They have cell phones, but Orion prefers like video chatting with his friends, so he like will sit there on his computer and video chat with his friends, and I'm like, all right. And it's monitored, don't worry. He's not talking to weirdos on the internet, because that's, again, weird. All right, hold on a second. Sorry, I just realized I forgot my coffee. Jeez. So Orion's been in his room. Maggie's been outside. By the time they come in and we're like, okay, it's time to eat dinner, and then we'll watch a movie. We'll go sit down. They don't want to sit. I don't want them sitting in front of the TV all the time to watch a movie. Mostly because of the stuff we've been making, I don't want messed up on my floor. Like, we had spaghetti the other night, and I could just see Maggie spilling that spaghetti all over my carpet, and I'm like, nah, see, the way my life is set up, we're not doing that. So we ended up eating at the dinner table, and then I'm like, let's go watch a movie. Orion's like, I'm kind of tired, but I want to watch, Turning Red. And I'm like, all right. We have tried watching this same movie all week. And every time, either he will fall asleep or Maggie will fall asleep. And then the next day, they're like, can we watch the movie? Because I didn't see it. All right, bet. So we'll try to put the movie on again. And every day we get about 20 minutes in and they pass out. And I'm like, good God. And which is shocking because they're falling asleep before like 10 o'clock. Like, it's usually like 9 something and they're out. And I'm like, God dang it. Because we usually have dinner pretty late in the evening. Like, we usually have it around 6:30-ish, which I guess isn't too late. But it takes the kids forever to eat dinner because they can't just sit down and eat it. We have to sit and talk and play and talk about, everything but eating our food and all this other stuff. And so it takes them forever to eat their food, and then they have to play because they sit next to each other. And I'm just like, y'all are going to be sitting here all goddamn on day. I don't care. Like, y'all remember your parents doing that to you? You'll sit here all day until you eat all the food off that plate. That's what we do with the kids, except for they don't see that as a problem because they have each other. As long as they can distract the other one from eating, the other one won't leave them, and they got somebody to talk to, so they're fine. So I'm going to have to come up with a different method for them because apparently the old school method don't work and they don't seem fazed by it, and I don't like it. I don't like it when they're not fazed by the punishment. So I'm just like, God dang it. So yeah, so we would start watching a movie at about like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And by 9:20, the kids were asleep, or at least one of them was. And me and Mr. Coffee have watched this movie 3 times now. And the kids have a total together maybe watched it once. The first 20 minutes over and over again. And then we'll tell them to go to bed. Well, I don't know what's going on with Maggie. I don't know if she's falling out of the bed. I don't know if she's sleepwalking or what she's doing. But I don't remember what day it was. One of those days, we were going to bed. It was really late. I usually tend to go to bed late because I have insomnia. That's not, anything that's changed. So I got to go to bed, and I just happen to be sitting there, and I'm like, let me go say goodnight to the kids, because I like to go into their room to make sure that they're okay before I go lay down. So I'm like, let me go see, how the kids are. Plus, you guys already know my kids don't know how to use furniture properly, so I needed to make sure that Orion wasn't laying on a chair and Maggie wasn't laying at her desk or something. So I go to look for the kids. Orion's in bed, sleeping peacefully, mouth wide open, drool, and I was like, oh, my baby boy. And I go and give him a kiss, and I'm like, all right, let me go check on Maggie. Go in Maggie's room. I see something in her bed. I go to kiss it, and I was like, what the hell's in your hair? What the flip? I'm like, why is your head so small? Hold up, is this your foot or something? Like, I go to look and pull a blanket back. It's a couple of her stuffed animals. And I'm like, what the hell kind of ramshambo is this? Like, did you just seriously put stuffed animals in the bed to deter me from finding you? So, of course, the first thing I do is I go look in the closet. Because, again, the Minna story. When Minna was little, she hid in her closet with her baby dolls, and we couldn't find her. Don't mind that noise. That's just Killian playing with something. Killian, could you stop? Thank you. His face is breaking out again. I'm getting so frustrated. But his face, it's like every time it gets cold, his face breaks out. I don't know why. It's not bad right now, so I'm going to call the vet here next week and see about having him go in and have this blood test done that's going to tell us what his zinc levels are at. Because it's obviously a zinc deficiency, but we don't know what exactly his zinc levels are at. He takes medication for it, but it's not working. He's on special food. He takes medication, but every time it gets cold, the fur falls off his face. And I'm like, please tell me you're the only husky in the entire world that's allergic to cold. Anyways. So yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I go to open the closet, and there's no Maggie. Okay. Now, with Minna's story, I didn't see her because she had blended in with her baby dolls because they were all the same, essentially the same color and size that Minna was. Minna was about, I want to say she was like 3 when that happened. So she was small, and so was her head. So I just assumed she was one of her baby dolls, and here it was just a whole child asleep in a closet in a toy box. But with Maggie, her baby dolls vary in size, color, shape, all kinds of things. And the thing that I kissed on the head was actually one of her little Scentsy buddies that she had put in her bed and covered up with a blanket. And I just thought it was her because the hair texture was the same. And I was just like, oh, look at a little, wavy hair. Let me go, say goodnight to her. And then I find out that it's not Maggie. And I'm like, what the hell? Then I start to panic after I can't find her in the closet. Because I'm like, where else can she be? This room isn't that big. Like, it's not like we live in a mansion or something. And she has like, in a whole house worth of a room. It's only so big. Like, what the heck? So I go check the bathroom. She doesn't have a tub to sleep in, so I was like, she's not going to be sleeping in a shower. They do have, like, seats in their shower where they can sit down, but, again, this is an oil-filled house, so these were set up for the oil-filled men to live in, so they do have, like, a place for them to sit in the shower, which I'm kind of jealous of because my bathroom's the only one that doesn't have that feature, which is the stand-up shower with the seat in it. And it's just like a ledge that sticks out from the corner of the wall. And it's like almost like a half circle type thing. And I figured, maybe she went in there. Looked in there. Nope, she wasn't in there. I called down to Mr. Coffee and I'm like, hey, Maggie's missing. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's not in her bed. He goes, okay. So we go looking for her. He can't find her either. I'm like, look good in that closet because I have a feeling she's going to be somewhere in that closet. And I'm going to feel like an idiot. He's looking in the closet, but he's finding everything but Maggie. He found a pair of his shoes that he had been missing for like the last couple of months in her closet. Now we just cleaned out her closet like a week ago. But he's finding his shoes. He found a pair of my sandals. Like apparently she had went down into our mud room and gotten a couple of pairs of everybody's shoes to play with the ferrets for some reason. Because she also had a pair of Orion's skates in there. And I'm like, why does she have all this stuff in her closet? Like, I don't know. Like, we just cleaned her closet out. Like, why would she put all this stuff in her closet? Because she was too lazy to take it back downstairs. Or she didn't want to get caught putting it back. So she just didn't put it back where it was. And I was just like, oh my God, this kid is trying to kill me. So we looked for a good 20 minutes before we actually found her fast asleep underneath her bed. Now, I wouldn't have thought to look underneath the bed just because why would you go underneath the bed to go to bed? I mean, yeah, she can fall out of her bed and roll under the bed, but for some reason, I didn't think of that being an option. I just assumed that she was kidnapped from the second floor window because somebody was able to get a whole ladder up there without us detecting or hearing anything. And so I was just like, you know, my brain's irrational most of the time, so I'm just like, oh, God. So I go up, or I get Mr. Coffee, and I'm like, she's right here. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, he then has to dig her out from underneath the bed because she's up under there with, like, blankets and toys and all kinds of stuff. He gets her out, puts her in bed. She does the very same, she does the exact same thing 3 nights in a row. And I was like, look, listen, if you don't stop falling asleep on the floor and get in that bed, what do y'all have against your bed? Like, we paid a lot of money for that bunk bed set. And Orion's just like, I just wish it was a little bit bigger. You don't need a bigger bed. You're 11. You barely fit in the bed that you have now. You want a bigger bed? What do you think this is? You think this is Beds R Us? You think we just over here made of money? I'm not trying to buy you another bed. No. And Maggie's just, Maggie, if Orion doesn't fit, Maggie doesn't fit in the bed either. So the beds are a decent size for the tiny humans that they are. Like, you don't need a whole queen-size bed. You're 11. So, there's somebody walking past my front door. Hopefully it's UPS, because I have a package that got delayed. I was hoping that I ordered all the packages in time to get them, and apparently I didn't. So my UPS package is still, like, it says it's in Williston, but it's not out for delivery. And I'm like, God dang it. So, and of course, it's a package that I've been, like, impatiently waiting on. And I'm like, God dang it. But my Scentsy package got here, no problem. But my freaking my new keyboard didn't get here yet. I got a new keyboard for my electronic devices, just because it's easier to do with a keyboard with my long nails than it is to try to type on my phone and stuff. And I end up making a lot of errors. And I'm like, with my long nails and everything else, let me get a keyboard that I can Bluetooth to it. So I got a keyboard that I can Bluetooth to it, but it's like stuck in transit. It's been in Jamestown, wherever that is, in North Dakota for the last 3 days. And it finally made its way to Williston. So it's in town. I just have to wait for them to deliver it. And I'm like, God dang it. So there's that. Let me get that in there. I was half thinking about going to go get it, because you can, if an item is in town but not out for delivery, they keep walking past that door. But if an item is in town and not out for delivery, they do have a pickup location where you can go online with your tracking number and let them know that you're going to come pick it up that day, and you can go pick it up. But with the way the snow is outside, nay, that package will sit there until they deliver it. They better than me than driving in the snow, I'll tell you that. And I'm not about to drag my kids out, go get me a keyboard and go kill myself trying to get a keyboard. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. So there's that. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days here. And so we finally get through the Maggie debacle with her sleeping underneath the bed. And then there's the Killian problem. Okay, now yesterday when I was cleaning, Mr. Coffee left, and it always so happens that he always has to leave right around the time the dogs go out for their second walk of the day. And I'm like, every freaking time. It's like you do this on purpose. But with his job, he doesn't do it on purpose, that I know of. But again, Miss Coffee paranoid is all get out, y'all. I don't trust myself. That's how much trust I have in, like, humanity. But I'm sitting here, and I'm like, all right. Well, I will go walk the dogs because he's been walking the dogs since, Tuesday because all the snow. And he can handle the snow better than I can. I can't. No, I can't. There's so, y'all, it's been forever since I've seen this much snow, okay? And so, again, when you guys think about me and the snow, don't think about, me being all sad and depressed because it's snowing. I actually like watching the snow as long as I don't have to go out in it. Is anybody else like that? Like, you don't mind the weather as long as you don't have to go out in it? That's how I am. I don't mind the snow. I hate it because it's cold, and I don't like being cold because I'm Southern, but I don't mind the snow. But when there's this much snow, nah, y'all can keep that. And everybody's like, don't take and send it over here. I'm sending it to everybody. Everybody's getting some of the snow. I have enough to go around. There is so much snow that these poor snowplow people don't even know where to put it at this point because the piles of snow are just so high. They have nowhere else to put it. Like, it's like, where are we supposed to put it? So I was like telling Mr. Coffee, I'm like, well, I need to walk the dogs because I am going to need to find a path to go walk the dogs. And he was telling me that right over by the dog park, he had made this little, like, way to the dog park. The problem is, the way he made to the dog park, you have to essentially step into the dog park. Like, the snow is level with the gate of the dog park. And the way he goes straight up the snow pile. and the snow pile takes you into the dog park. The problem is, this morning when I went to try to take that path, because it's getting warmer outside, the snow is warmer, and I got stuck, and I fell straight through the snow. Now, take it, the dogs took off. They were just like, nah, that ain't my gig. They took off. They left me there by myself. I had to dig my way out for 10 minutes, and I know because I kept looking at my watch, because every time I turn my wrist, my watch turns on. So I was trying to like claw my way out the snow, and luckily I have these little tiny hand shovels, and I'm clawing my way out of the snow. I finally get myself out. And I'm like, oh my God, the snow. I'm like, and immediately I messaged Mr. Coffee. And I'm like, by the way, your snow pile made me fall through. I wouldn't take this way right now. He goes, well, no, it's warm out. It's warm out. I'll hurt you. I'll hurt you. He's like, well, it's warmer out. So that pile isn't as hard as it was. And the snow is starting to melt, which isn't a good thing. One, whenever this happens, we end up spending our entire winter or our entire summer in a flood warning. Our entire summer will be in a flood warning because there's so much snow that needs to melt. And this snow will probably stick around for about 2-3 weeks. Just because the temperatures are trying to get warmer. But from what I heard, we're supposed to get another snowstorm this weekend. And I'm like, I give up. I just give up. I gotta teach my dogs how to use the toilet because I can't walk them. I can't do this. Like, it's giving me anxiety just to walk them for fear that I'm going to fall through the snow again. Like, that was very traumatic this morning to me. Like, I was sitting there, like, in a panic because I thought for sure that was the end of me because there was nobody outside. It was just me and the dogs. It's early in the morning on a day that the kids don't have school. Most kids would be outside playing in the snow at that time. But the normal kids that are around here that would be outside in the snow don't live here anymore. So I'm like, oh, God dang it. So literally, if I get, stuck in here, nobody's going to find me because the kids that I was complaining about last time don't even live here anymore. And they would have been my saving grace and would have saw me fall through the snow, had their 7 chuckles, but try to rescue me at least. So, okay, we're going to get a different color. We're going to go for D. We're going to put this one away. So how are you guys doing today? You guys doing good? How's the weather where you're at? Please send me warm temperatures. Write down in the comment section, if you've gotten this far in the video, write down in the comment section, what is the temperature at right now that when you're watching this? What is the temperature at where you live? Because right now, currently, it is 36 degrees here in Williston. And even though we have 6 feet of snow on the ground, it actually feels really nice outside. I'm going to have to go out and walk the dogs soon, too. I didn't think about that. Whoopsies. I'll walk them here as soon as I'm done. Them being delayed on their walk would be fine. They'll be fine. They went out a little later today, and they're over there by the door sunbathing. It makes it hard to walk the dogs, too, because on top of there being piles of snow everywhere, trying to find a way to get into the dog park has been a trial in itself. So I'm sitting here. It was yesterday when Mr. Coffee left. I went to go walk the dogs, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, all right, I need to find a pathway through. Again, I fell through the snow where he had made the path for me to get up, and to just, like, literally the snow is so high, you can step on the snow on the outside of the dog park, step over the gate, and get right into the dog park and be the same level. Like, the snow is that high up to the dog park. And if you know a normal 5-foot fence, that's how high the snow is there. And they've started piling snow there. So now the snow there is probably about a good, I'm going to say 8 feet high. But there's a little space that Mr. Coffee cleared out. And I literally just went, whoop, right down into the snow. As soon as my foot hit that thing, it just went, whoop. Now take it. I've lost 20 pounds. I've gone from 215, and I think I'm down to like 192 as of this morning. I checked this morning. I'm 192. So I have lost weight. But it makes you feel some type of way about the weight you lost. You're like, did I really lose weight? Because I still fell through the snow. Like, I'm still feeling some type of way. I'm not trying to get a summer body. I'm just trying to get right with myself. Like, I wasn't feeling the best there. And because of, like, the panini, having everybody stuck in the house, and I'm in the house all the time anyways, it gave me an excuse to be lazy. So I'm trying to get out of that lazy mode and get back into being active. Plus, I haven't been active a whole lot since surgeries. Yeah, surgeries. Because I was told to sit down. The problem is, because I was told to sit down, now all I want to do is sit down. At this point, my butt's going to be flatter than a sheet of paper as much as I've been sitting on it. So I'm like trying to get up and be active every day and not sit around and do nothing. Here's another truck that looks like it's stuck by my house. Hold on. Somebody's looking around. Oh my gosh. I love it when people get stuck in the snow. Anyways, so I'm sitting there. And after I get myself dug out of the snow, the dogs go to the bathroom. Now, the dog park snow is as high as everywhere else. But letting the dogs run around in there is packing some of that snow down so that they actually have places that they can walk and run. And it's funny because there's certain spots in the dog park where the dog can step. And like Daisy's the biggest dog. Daisy is about 6'1" on her hind legs, okay? So Daisy would have the snow up to her belly at some parts, but then other parts you could tell that like was a little bit deeper. And so I'm sitting there and we get ready to go. Now I have to call the dogs because we came in through that way through the dog park. I was fearful that they would try to jump out every time they saw a car or something because Daisy likes to bark at tires. I don't know why, but she does. So I was like calling them back in and I was like, let's go for walkies because I had to figure out now a way since I got into the dog park. I'm not going the same way, obviously. I just fell through the snow. So let me figure out a way to get out of the dog park safely without falling through the snow. And I went, you know what? I'll take the long way. Now, there's two different ways I can go about this. I can go out the dog park, go across and then down and then make the circle around the dog park and go back up the street. But I have to walk straight into the street because there's no sidewalk. It's all covered in snow. Or I can go the other way, which is coming out of the dog park, going straight up and going on the sidewalk up there and coming down behind my house. Problem was, I wasn't banking on the fact that there was so much snow back there that I wouldn't be able to do that. And so I was like, well, let's go that way behind the house and we'll come up on the side of the house and then we will be able to go into the house. I didn't realize that when they plowed on Saturday that they plowed all that snow from the street onto the sidewalk. So as I'm sitting there, I need another color, 550. Yep, that's 550. So let's see if we can find that one real quick. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, the snow here isn't that deep. It's all the way up to my boot, which my boots are up to my shins, okay? And they're big fuzzy boots. So I was like, you know, I'll be fine. We get over there, I'm stepping, the snow's up to my calf, and I'm like, you know, this isn't too bad. We take 3 steps, and again, I sink down. I sink down to the point where the snow is now on my knees. And I'm like, oh no, this is going to get worse. Because I look over, okay, so I'm right here behind the dog park. Here's the dog park. I walked up the street. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. So I walk up the street, right? And I'm on the sidewalk right here. Right about here is where the houses start. So it's my neighbor's house and then my house because they're attached, remember? So we'll do like this. Neighbor's house, my house, okay? So I'm sitting there. Hold on, I'm trying to get my charger. Make sure y'all don't die on me. I thought my phone was charged, but the light looks a little bit dim. It could just be because of the way I'm sitting. Anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm walking on the sidewalk, not thinking anything. And right next to my neighbor's house is a path that's clear. But I would literally end up walking right into their driveway and they hadn't plowed yet, so I would still have to go through snow. Or I can keep going behind my house, which the snow looked like it was a little bit deeper, but not that much, but snow can be deceiving. So I'm like, okay, let's go behind my house, because that seems like a smart idea. Wrong. Again, I'm not the brightest crown in the box, not the sharpest tool in the shed. I got to go walk behind my house. And the next thing I know, I'm walking. I fall down a little bit further than the snow's up to my thighs. And I'm like, okay, getting a little, like, you know, you get that little panic where you can't breathe. And you're like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, if it goes any deeper, I'll turn around. But I got to get to the house. I'm like literally right behind my house. The problem is the kids and Mr. Coffee wasn't there, but the kids were inside, but they were upstairs because I sent them upstairs to go clean their rooms. Of course I did. I should have just let Maggie stay downstairs so she can open up the back door. But nay, I couldn't do that. Even when she came to give me my box just now, she came to the back door and the snow was up to her waist. And she was just like, here's your Scentsy box. And I'm like, where the hell did you get a Scentsy box from? Like, I had already seen FedEx drive past my house, so I didn't think they stopped. Well, apparently they did, and they dropped off a box, and I didn't even realize. And I was like, oh, crap. So she hands me my Scentsy box and she's like, can I go to my friend's house? Yep, bye, have a good time. I want to be able to record this whip and chat. So I was just like, yeah, you go have fun. So I'm sitting there, right? And the next thing I know, as I'm walking, the leash, one of the leashes tugs. And I'm like, ugh, what is that? So I look behind me because I'm thinking that the dogs are sniffing at things because they're dogs and they sniff at everything. So I'm thinking that one of the dogs is sniffing at something. So I'm like, come on. I look. And right as I say that, Killian's like, He's standing in place and then he just drops. And I'm like, oh, Killian! I freak out for about 30 seconds. My heart drops. I let go of Daisy. I'm like, Daisy, home. She takes off. She goes home. She only makes it halfway though because she then falls in the snow. But she didn't fall in like Killian did. Killian was gone like a fart in the wind. He was gone. And I was like, Killian, no! So I go run over to where Killian's at. I get on my hands and knees and I crawl over to the ice. And he's in there. He doesn't move or anything. Like, he's not trying to get out. Okay, he's just there looking up at me like, hello. And I'm like, Killian, oh my God, how do I get you out of here? Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Trying to get this dog out of here. And I'm like, oh my God, if I don't get my dog out of here, what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, legit, y'all. I'm like in tears. Okay, now, luckily it wasn't cold enough that my tears would freeze to my face, but I'm in tears because he's down there. He's not moving or anything. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I get him out? I want to get him out. Well, he has on, my dogs wear pinch collars. Don't want your opinion on it. I have my own. Thank you for having an opinion. My dogs wear pinch collars because it helps me train them to walk beside me and not in front of me. But yesterday, for some reason, Killian decided he was going to stand behind me because he was sniffing at something, which is why he was standing still. Because another dog, I guess, had walked past our house as we were at the dog park. And so he was sniffing the ground when he fell through. And I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get him out of the snow? How am I going to get him out of there? I don't know if I can reach him. But I was able to reach him close enough that I could grab his head. But you can't pull a whole 89-pound dog up by its head, and I don't have the arm strength for that, because then I could feel the snow, like, sinking down as I was trying to get him out. So I was like, I don't know how to get him out of here. Then he starts to cry. Now, he's not trying to get up. He just starts whining. He's just, and I'm like, I know, buddy, I know, we're going to get you out. So I'm looking around. I'm trying to, like, have a MacGyver moment. I'm like, what can I get? There ain't nothing out here but snow. And then I think about it. Okay, I got this. So I grab hold of his neck, and on his neck again is his leash, which I still have hold of, and his pinch collar. Now I look back and Daisy's still standing in the same spot. Like, Daisy's a derp. She's just sitting there. She's just happy to be included in something. And so I look at Daisy, I grab her leash, take it off her because she ain't moving. She's just stuck in space. And I'm like, well, I can get you. Your legs are just stuck in the snow. You're fine. She wasn't making any noise. And then she essentially just sat down, and I was like, whatever. So I grab her leash, tie a hold of Killian's leash, grab Killian's head, flip his pinch collar inside out. And I'm like, I'm really hoping this doesn't slide off your neck. Now, what I did was I had to pull. Now, I made sure that the collar part of it was touching the front of his throat, so it wasn't choking him, trying to pull him up. So essentially I was pulling him and trying to get him to climb up. No, Killian's like a sack of potatoes the whole time, just sliding up the side of the ice that he's fallen down into. After about maybe 3 or 4 minutes, I finally do get him out. My neighbor sees me and comes out and he goes, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, my dog fell through the snow, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, don't walk by here. The snow's too deep. I guess they went to go check their mail yesterday and they fell straight into the snow. So he's like, yeah, we found that out the hard way yesterday. Go ahead and just, the rest of the way should be fine. But, next time don't walk past this way. And I'm like, all right, thanks. So I grab him and he looks at Daisy as he's going in the house and he goes, is she okay? Yeah, she's fine. Daisy's just sitting in the snow watching us. At this point, Killian is unfazed. He's unharmed. I checked his neck just to make sure I didn't do any damage or anything to him. He seemed fine. He didn't even whine when I pulled the leash up. So I know he was fine. I'm glad I did, because right as I went to go pull him up, the leash came off. And he didn't try to run away. He just kind of sat there. And I was just like, oh, thank God. So I get home. I call Mr. Coffee, let him know what happened. And he's like, are you guys okay? And I'm like, yes, everybody's fine. Killian is in his crate right now because apparently whenever they come in from outside, he goes into his crate. So I'm like, Killian's in his crate, but he's fine. Everybody's fine. And he's like, all right, well, I'll be home. He's like, that's why I didn't want you going out. I told you I would get them when I got home. And I'm like, yeah, but I need to know which ways to go and which ways not to go so that when I have to walk them tomorrow, which is today, I know which way to take. Well, guess what? Don't take the path behind my house because the snow is hella... I didn't think it was that high, mostly because when it did snow Tuesday through Thursday, okay, when it did snow, you could still see grass in my backyard. So I didn't think that the snow that we got Sunday, which started later than they were expecting, I didn't think that the snow that we got Sunday was going to be that deep, but it was. Not on top of that, I didn't hear them, but they had been plowing and pushing that snow as far back as they could so that they could pile more snow there, because they knew, of course, that the snow was coming and that they would need the space to put more snow later. And so I was just thinking it was a little bit of snow we got that morning, which I didn't realize it until later on, that on top of the 5 feet of snow we got on Tuesday through Thursday, we got another foot of snow yesterday on Sunday. So yeah, it's just a lot of snow, y'all. It's the iced coffee house at this point. But yeah, everybody's doing fine. I found that going around the dog park is the safest method to take the dogs out. They are able to go to the bathroom at the dog park. I just have to watch to make sure that they don't jump out of the dog park, because apparently Daisy did that yesterday when she was out with Mr. Coffee. She jumped out of the dog park to go say hi to one of the neighbors. And this guy, he knows the dogs, but he never comes over like to pet the dogs because it's always been so snowy or it's super early in the morning, and he knows I'm trying to get, the dogs out before I take the kids to school. So he never comes over really to pet the dogs. But Daisy decided yesterday, you're going to pet me today. You're going to pet me today. And she hops out as soon as she sees the guy, runs over to the guy and like belly ups at him. And I'm like, oh my God, Daisy, like, you're embarrassing me. You're supposed to be a vicious dog. Like, every time you hear about German Shepherds, you're always hearing like how vicious they are. And then there's Daisy, and she's just like, rub my tummy. Y'all, it's just been a mess in this house, I swear. One last story before I go. Story of love and devotion. So, I think I want to say it was Wednesday. I had gotten a notification that our mail had ran and that I had a Zox delivery. Now, Tuesday, the snow had started getting bad, but Wednesday and Thursday were the worst days. But the mail still ran on Wednesday because Mr. Jerry's gangsta at this point. He is honorary gangsta. I don't know how he was able to deliver the mail in his little mail truck, but he did. And he delivered the mail, and in the mail was one of my Zox bracelets, which is the one I'm wearing today, which is this one here. Okay. And this one is Part of Me. Okay. Zox bracelet. If you don't know what Zox is, it's a company that makes these elastic bracelets. They come in 3 different sizes, or 4 different sizes: kid, small, medium, large. And I think they might do an extra large. I'm not sure. But they only make a certain amount of each bracelet before it sells out and they're done with it. So I buy these all the time for my videos and stuff because I like to wear them. They're like arm decorations for my videos because a lot of times all y'all see are my arms. So I had gotten a notification that my Zox order had been delivered, and I told Mr. Coffee, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get my Zox for the next couple of days because I swear that mailbox is going to freeze and I'm not going to be able to get in there. He goes, well, give me the keys when I go to walk the dogs and I'll go get your Zox bracelet. Y'all, this man went out into the cold to go get my Zox bracelet out of the mail. Now, we had other mail in there, but his reasoning for going to the mailbox was to get my Zox bracelet because he didn't want it to get stuck in the mailbox. And I was like, you do love me. And he goes, we shouldn't get mail for the next couple of days, so we should be fine. But everything that we've needed for the house, grocery-wise or anything else, Mr. Coffee has gotten. He's been walking the dogs. He's been my knight in shining bubble suit for the last couple of days, which is why it sucks so bad that he's gone today. But he had to go back to work at some point because he already got almost the entire week off last week. So he did have to go back to work. But I can't tell y'all how grateful I am to this man for being such a good guy and doing like pretty much everything and letting me just handle the stuff in the house while he handles everything else. Like he's an amazing guy, and I'm thankful for that man every day because he puts up with me, and that's a lot. But with that said, folks, I gotta now get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the Whip and Chat. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up or give it a thumbs down at this point. That's fine too. But with that said, please remember to stay caffeinated, stay crafty, and stay safe. Don't worry, the folks here at the coffee house, we're all doing good. We're all safe, nice and warm, all that fun, fuzzy jazz. But with that said, again, I must bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that it's hard out here in these crafty streets. So always remember to try to be kind to others, be courteous, and be cool. Bye, guys.